Hello, hi guys, welcome back to the channel, the one and only channel for Safo-Orah, the only human being Safo-Orah that you know, the only human being Safo-Orah that you know, the only human being Safo-Orah that you know. Like, please, okay, 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 okay. Now that we know that I'm the only one, even though I'm probably not, but I'm the only one, right, on this platform, right? I just want to say, right? I was just talking to my roommate Yami about this. My roommate and friend, because we're not just roommates, we're also friends, and I think that that's important to clear up. Anyways, I don't even know because I don't really know if this video is gonna get posted, but I think it's gonna be part of the vote. So it might not get posted when I think it's gonna get posted, but it might get posted in general. I was talking to her about like Doechii and how like now Doechii is big and everything, and I think that like I love that for her. I've been listening to Doechii since whatever. It doesn't even matter because there's no point of that credibility. I don't care. Like she doesn't know me. It doesn't matter. But I think that now that one thing I'm realizing is the way that social media exploits people's success, in a sense that like now everyone is talking about the artist way, now everyone's doing the artist way, and now everyone is like praising her in a sense of like obviously giving her flowers, but also trying to find the method as to how she made it through this madness. And you know, there was a moment, I think after the Grammys, you know, her videos, like her older videos that was like 7 years ago that had like 2K views started to pop up on my timeline, and like I started to, you know, click on before people really thought about it. You know, my algorithm was already generating like her version of the artist way of her doing it. So I was like, okay. And I liked watching her do it. I liked seeing that experience and stuff like that. And plus, like, I always watch other things on YouTube. Like, I watch like tarot card readings. I watch Shane Boudrin. I watch like, you know, I just like to educate myself. I like to watch things that are really niche to who I am and like whatever. So yeah. But yeah, I think that the way that people start to exploit other people's success kind of gets a little bit exhausting, especially as an artist, because it feels like people get scared. It feels like people get scared to continue to move how they were moving before, because now this is working for someone else and they feel like they have to get off their path to walk in the path of someone else's. But it's just like, you don't know where the blue, you don't know where the green, you don't know where the poison ivy is. You don't know where the poison ivy is. You don't know where the leeches are. You don't know where the snakes are at. They do though. Because this is their path. Like, they know where the shit's at. So now niggas is just walking in the shits. La 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 la. I'm just going to follow this nigga. Boom. You done fucked up and touched some poison ivy. Now your hand is swollen. Boom. Some rat done nibble on your fucking toe. Now you got a foot infection. You know what I mean? And it's just like, if you would have just stayed on your course, you already know what you're navigating and what that looks like. And so I just think that, like, as artists, I think that it's really important to kind of stay on our path, to be able to look at someone's work and understand and respect it fully for what it is without feeling the need to copy and take it for ourselves. And I think that this is something that I've always had, you know, I always had to grapple with, because when I was younger, when my sister first put me onto Kweke Emezi with the book Pet, I was obsessed. Like, I was obsessed with Emezi, and I used to just read all their books, and I used to think that they're just the best artists, and I still think that they're really good artists, and I've met them a few times. And I realized one time after like the last time I met them, I was just like, yeah, like there's nothing more this person could possibly give me with their work that that just would feed me anymore without actually imitating them and copying the things that they're doing. So it's like, it gets to a point where you have to just consume and shit the shit out. You can't consume and be constipated and then thinking that, you know, you're giving us shit. You're not giving us nothing. You haven't even shitted for yourself. You're not giving us shit. Like, you're not giving us shit, literally. And so it's just like realizing that you can't do shit like that. You can't consume other human beings thinking that you're gonna produce anything other than the thing that you've consumed. And I think that one thing I've learned is that, like, people don't like to consume themselves. They think that they taste bad. They think that they're flawed. They think that they're crooked. They think that they're disgusting, thinking that the person that they're consuming is void of those things. Everybody shits. If you're gonna eat Doechii, you're gonna have to eat her shit too. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, and that's just what it is. And I think that I'm realizing that, like, I'd rather eat myself I'd rather eat myself than to consume other people in a way that is just unethical and just kind of like disturbing, and disturbing in a way that is affecting my craft, disturbing in a way that is digressing me from my authentic visuals, my authentic reality, my authentic way of viewing something. Yeah, I think that it's okay to look at someone and be like, damn, this nigga's doing some really cool shit. Like, I love Sloan. And also like understanding that you can like bad things. Like, you can like bad things. You can critique something and someone that is bad and still like it. You can understand if you're using your brain and you're using critical thinking, you can appreciate things that maybe society or maybe is genuinely just bad, and you can navigate that space within yourself and understanding why it is that you're drawn to it until you're done and it's done the work that it needs to do for you, and you can let it go. Like, I don't think that as artists we always have to be consuming good shit, or we have to be presenting ourselves as good people or good, like we always have good thoughts. I don't always have good thoughts. Sometimes I really want to slap a nigga. Like, sometimes, and it's not even just like, oh, I want to slap niggas as in like niggas piss me off, but like just in a sense of like, damn, like if somebody really gave me the space to really just, I don't know, just to be cruel or to be violent, like that was safe in a sense that like they also want that, I will be willing to do that. Like, I can inflict harm, and that like not everything that I put out is coming from a place that wants to be good. Ooh. Exactly, that wants to be good. Sometimes I want to be bad. Sometimes I want to be defiant. Sometimes I want to be rude. Sometimes I want to be arrogant. Sometimes I want to be cocky. Sometimes I want to let my dick hang. I want to remind niggas that I have a dick. Like, I'm fucking Octi. Like, I'm Safo-Orah. I'm not just Safo-Orah. There's other parts of me that lives within my body. And I just think that, like, that's the beauty part of being an artist, is that I can express all those things when the time comes, or if I feel safe enough, and understanding that there's no shame if I don't feel safe to express myself. So now I can move and navigate other places that makes me feel safe, other spaces that make me feel safe, so that I can express those parts of myself. And if there's no space, how do I create that space for myself? But yeah, I think that like, yeah, I'm just realizing that like no one else can do what I do, so I might as well do what I do. Like, so I say that to say, like, I know it's cool when people get famous and like people blow up and like we all want to dick ride, and it's like, dick ride, get your nut off, you know. But then, you know, you have to learn how to please yourself as well, and like, nigga, you have to learn how to masturbate. If you don't masturbate and master yourself, dude, niggas will play you just gonna be dick riding all day. No lie, like, no shade. And it's like, do you want to dick ride all day, or do you want to give dick sometimes? I'm just saying, these are just thoughts that we should think about. But yeah, I don't know. I think I was watching Reese, and I was watching just my social media, and it made me feel like, yeah, like, damn, like, also like the art of work, of like understanding that work my work doesn't have to work for anybody else but me. So I can think about ways of actually working that is monetary or just spiritual or just creative, that works for the way that I work, so that I can produce work that I want and that I need, or that is worth it. That's all I wanted to say, to be honest. Stop fucking dick riding. Get you your own strap. Get you your own dick, and you could customize it too. You can get you a purple one, you can get you a pink one, you can get you a big one. I have a big one. And it's like, not everybody can take it, literally, and that's okay. And that is okay. That's okay. That's okay. But yeah, like, stop trying to minimize or shrink yourself. I always say, if you can't swallow me whole, then you can't swallow at all. Like, you can't have, I'm not about to cut my arm off so you can swallow that first, and then chop my head off so you can eat that next. Like, if you can't take me as I am, as my full big being, then we're just not meant to be. But yeah, I hope that made sense to myself for the future. Yeah, I don't want to be anybody else than Safo-Orah and all the other parts of me that I am. And I love me. I love me. I love me some me. Yes, thank you. Also, when I say it's good to like bad things, you also have to understand the reason as to why things are not bad. Because if you realize what the definition or your definition by definition of what is good or bad, then you will understand how to navigate those space of understanding that some things are not so like cleanly good or bad. And so your perception of situations or word that is good or bad is what indicates what's good or bad for your reality and to you as you use the word good or bad. So yeah, once we realize, honestly, that's another thing too that also is really interesting about the internet or about the internet. It's like the internet, but it's like it's not just the internet. It's like, for example, if you go to class and you learn about something and then you go on the internet and you kind of see more of the things you learned about, is it now just on the internet, or is that just where it's being displayed? Because sometimes if people don't show things on the internet, would you have experienced that experience? Or is that something that just happens on the internet, of being on the internet, as in like, because you're on the internet, now you experience all these experiences? Right. I also just hit the pan, so I have to say, but I only say that because I'm writing shit. And and I'm trying to learn shit, you know what I mean? Like, anyways, so yeah, I think there's other parts of things that like people that are not really aware of that influence the way that we think of things. So I think sometimes the perception also is that like people say like artists shouldn't go to school, and people say like, or like no, people don't say that artists shouldn't go to school. People just say that artists don't go to school. In a sense of that, some artists will say that they didn't go to school. For example, they'll be like, oh, for example, Lil Wayne. Let's use Lil Wayne for example, because everyone knows Lil Wayne. So Lil Wayne will be like, or he said in his reality of Lil Wayne, he'll be like, yeah, like he dropped out of school, he got his GED because his mom knew that he could be making money. Like he's doing this shit, he's rapping, he's this artist. So why go to school? Why finish learning if this is the way to make money or to make things happen or whatever? But then it's like, just because. So then that's that experience of not going to school. Or some people finish high school and stuff, but then they don't further their school career in the sense of like they don't go to college. And so there's that experience of not going to school fully or completing something to not, climbing, I suppose. And then, yeah, so then there's that, right? People that don't go to school make different art than people that do go to school. Like, there's just no way. For example, if you go to school to be a doctor, you have to go to school to be a doctor. You can't just go and be a doctor. And if you did go and be a doctor, it would be going to school. So now, there's that. And I'm talking about being a doctor in a way that, like, I'm crediting it and seeing it as a form of art in a sense of medical work is not just medical work. Like medical work is it's a healing modality. It's for the people, and it's something that brings not just joy, like in a sense of like happiness, but it brings cure, or like it's like it helps calm down the people to know that there's Medicare, even though a lot of people can't access it in a way that like maybe they go and they don't receive the help that they need. But that's the part where artists come in a sense of like trying to fix something that, and give like, and I don't know, just I trust that people that are entering the medical field are actually trying to cure and take care of things in the sense of that. Not if you don't go to school, if you don't learn, if you're not focused on taking care of something and learning how to cure something, and when a human comes to you and like, dude, my leg hurts, like I don't know what's happening, I'm getting pins and needles and shit like that. Okay, because you've done the work, you can now be able to help this person. That if somebody's like, oh my god, my leg hurts, I don't know what to do, let me play some Lil Wayne. It's like, did that help you? Did that help you though? Like, are you do you know what I mean? Like, are you really cured? Anyways, that was my tangent. I don't know why I said that. I guess just to give credit to my sister, because she's, that's her work. I also want to acknowledge work in other ways that it's obvious and like blatant to see how people are doing the work in ways that actually work. Anyways, I say that to say, you go to school, it produces and generates different thoughts because you're looking at things from an academic standpoint in a way that is not just academic to you or to the reality, to just everything that's on. Like, so you know, when you go on Instagram and you look at some shit, you know that this is why you're looking at some shit in a specific way because you went to school for it and you learned, you know what I mean? You learned the academic way of perceiving something. I guess it's easier to say that I'm fighting with school than to make like other options of what could possibly be happening. But it's like, it's not even just about like what I'm learning or like what is happening, or like sometimes it's also just realizing that like there's some things that like no one can teach you because your experience is your experience, and so you have to literally figure out within how you can find things within your experience that furthers like the learning of how to build your experience beyond just what it is, like, you know. And I think like that's where things happen, like that's where things really come to fruition. And so I think like, even though like I'm going to school for me, right, I'm going to school for me and from my perspective of how to build something, how to build what I am, how to expand and learn the ways in which I need to be. And so that was kind of awkward because it just paused for a second and, you know, realized that I was acting. But yeah, and so it's just like all those things, and I go to school, you go to school, and it feels like it's not happening, but it is happening. And it's one of those weird things that it's just like, you gotta just finish doing it. Like, you can't half-ass it. You can't just like, I don't know, it's just some form of like application that has to be happening for you to be able to move forward and actually feel like you can graduate to the next thing. And I think that like with different grading system, it's hard to tell if you meet the mark, because it's like, I guess that's just it. And so, but then that goes under the notion of like the marked and unmarked in society, of like the things that you have to say because they're not so blatant and obvious, and the things that you don't have to say because they're so blatant and obvious, so it's marked as obvious. And I hate the word obvious, because things are not as obvious as they seem. Because you think that you're looking at something and that you understand the full perspective of what's happening, but the only reason why you think that is because other people have sort of explained but not fully like considered what's happening, or like, yeah, I don't really like the word obvious. I feel like you have to trust someone's vision enough to say obviously, you know, like it has to be something that is like ingrained obvious, you know. But yeah, because things just get lost in translation and it's not that obvious. Anyways, I wanted to fix the angle a little bit. Ooh. Oh, Should I? I don't know. It's kind of interesting because I just want to. And maybe. Okay, I have 23 seconds.